I just didn't remember what the accommodation package was. If it was until today or tomorrow.
It depends.
Okay, wunderschön.
You're staying in 23, so until tomorrow.
Just had a bit of fear that I need to pack everything today and go to the home hack or somewhere.
Oh, Alessandro says data is coming into YouTube.
A URL.
Yes. I see you. Announcing, right? Calling everybody. Okay, we are ready. Finally, sorry for the delay. Starting day 4. The next talk would be about Turris routers, and our speaker will be Josef. Sorry?
Let's do in 5 minutes. Then it's now it's 15 to give everybody to hear.
Dopo del talk, se non ci sono altri flash talks, stavo pensando di farne uno in cui gioco con il LibreRuta. Semplicemente lo collego e non l'ho mai usato, perciò sarebbe una roba un po' in diretta, una sperimentazione in diretta.
Forse si può fare, vediamo come stiamo con i tempi. Perhaps you can click on the microphone. I will use this one for questions.
It's working, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can already start dance and sing and do the show.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I just want to wait for 1 or more minutes.
Yeah, it's okay.
So we can do social media first and edit the wiki.
Okay. Yeah, good to meet you. It was a pleasure. I'll make sure to write you because I still have your contacts on the card. Yeah, hope to keep in touch and maybe something will happen in Prague or around
Eventually
Prague.
something will, whether it's
Okay.
next year or the following year, we'll make it happen. Maybe an informal, oh shit, I'm gonna miss the Turris.
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna see you in Prague. Like
Okay,
2
yeah.
weeks or something.
Already leaving.
Oh yeah, sure. Help yourself.
Pepe, can you see something?
Yes, it's working. It's working.
Is it on?
I think so. Yes, I can hear it. I can hear it from the speakers.
It should be, isn't it? Isn't it?
Okay, wait.
This is on? This is on? Yes.
Is this on as well?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Very nice. So I think I can start.
Yeah, looks like people had enough time to move over here. So just start and even more people can come.
Thanks. You can leave it afterwards. Okay. Hello guys, nice to meet you. My name is Josef, and somebody can know me from my username, which is a Pepe or some abbreviation. And if you send some packages to, if you want to send some packages to OpenWrt packages suite, it's most likely that I review it, and sometimes I try to upstream other things even to main repository. So I'm working for CZNIC for almost 5 years. and my job is to keep the routers up to date. Just trying to keep with the issues which we have, just keeping eye on the new OpenWrt releases, and just know what they are doing so we can prepare the changes and be synchronized with them. But somehow these days we are somehow behind, but we will hopefully manage it in the future. So you might wonder, how is CZNIC or Turris related to each other? Well, CZNIC is a CZ domain registry. It was founded 25 years ago, and CZNIC has own research organization inside it, and also it has a learning center, CZNIC Academy, which does some courses to public audience, and even the CZNIC is working with does some TV shows or TV series, like how the users should use the internet, what is a DNS, and something like it. And also CZNIC does some big projects, maybe some of you already know. It's Knot Resolver or Routing Daemon Beard, which you can use. And also it has a honeypot as a service. The honeypot as a service can be used, it's using HSH protocol, and it can be installed on any device. But it needs to have a public IPv4 address. And the first idea about the router Turris came up 10 years ago. We should have some public announcement about it, and we should also prepare some new limited edition of the Turris Omnia with Wi-Fi 6, and also some Turris eShop where you can buy Wi-Fi 6 cards, which I will talk about it later. And the first prototype of the Turris router came out 9 years ago, and it is still supported, and we still provide new features for it. And recently we managed to upstream the device tree, and it will have the latest U-boot version. And I should also mention that maybe some Italian people know that I found some articles that Marte is Dead is a series about the cyberbullying, and it won Emmy Award. It's about this. It is in school environment that it's easily getting bullied, and it can lead to suicide, and how it can prevent it to happen, and how it is really quick to be bullied. And that's for this part. And about the Turris, it's based on top of the OpenWrt. It provides automatic updates. As I said already, it's very well maintained. Still, new features are provided, and it's we are using OpenSSL by default because we have a quite powerful. The devices are quite powerful. So it has a lot of internal storage, operating memory, and we're trying to at least provide updates once per month, and we are following each changes in OpenWrt branches. So we are not waiting until OpenWrt will release a fix-up release, and we already have these changes by tracking these following branches. And some reference which are using the Turris routers, it's two ISP. One is in Switzerland, it's in 7, and other one is in France. And also, what I am aware of, in Spain there is a charter-free University of Madrid, and they ordered dozens routers for the students for education. And we are not doing any differences between the devices which we have. We have a unified operating system, as this is based on OpenWrt. So if you have any router Turris, it has the same features, software features as any other. We are trying to upstream to OpenWrt as much as we can, but sometimes we want some big changes, and doing OpenSSL by default is not very welcomed. And having some major performance for bigger devices are problematic because they target to be minimalistic as possible. And what could be interesting for you guys is that we have 5 development branches. Five branches that users can use by using a command line interface or command line interface. Okay, let's keep it this way, because we would like to in the future provide some options in UI to just choose a branch which they want and just press OK, and the router will be automatically updated to it. So we have 3 development branches. Each of them is following OpenWrt release. Right now we are somehow behind OpenWrt, so the stable release is having the 19 release, and it's also kind of problematic to stay up to date with some security problems which could appear in some packages. And hopefully we will move to the next release next month, and afterwards we move to the next stable release. We will be using OpenWrt master, even though we have some builds for OpenWrt master, but they are in internal branches just used for us to know which patches are applied or not, and also to have it tested before sending to OpenWrt. And we have basically 4 devices. We have 4 devices, basically only 3, because one is equal to another one. And the first device, which came 9 years ago, is this blue routers. It was part of the research project, which was mostly in the Czech Republic citizens, so they can opt in to it, and based on they should have a public IPv4 addresses and have this router as the primary device to the internet. And if they were chosen, they was given just for one Czech Czech currency, and it was quite powerful because it has 256 megabyte storage, and for that time it was really powerful because there was a dual-core CPU SODIMM RAM with 2 gigabytes already, and I know that one of our kernel developers is already managed, so you can use even 4 gigabits of operating system, even the CPU is 32 bits, so it somehow addresses and it allows the users to use it. It has in that time it has Wi-Fi 5, and later, because it's extendable, it has 2 mini PCI ports, so you can upgrade to another Wi-Fi cards. And what I can say also, the PowerPC platform is very well supported even by the manufacturer and also in Linux kernel. So if you buy Wi-Fi 6 cards and you just plug it and it works, which is very important and which is very good among the others devices, which is a little bit complicated, and we will talk also about it. So it has 5 LAN ports and one port, and everything is working on 1 gigabit. And the second device is Turris Omnia. This is the commercial router which was crowdfunded on Indiegogo. It has 8 gigabyte internal storage, and previously you can choose if you want 1 gigabit or 2 gigabit RAM, but these days there is only 2 gigabit version. Also, this router has a SF package, which you can choose if you want to have the Ethernet WAN or SF package, and it's very important that the SFP modules are supported in Linux kernel. Sometimes it's very complicated to get some of the SFP module workings, but others are working. And it has 2 USB 3 ports, and also what could be interesting is that there are two LEDs which you can configure, colors if you want. You can put all the colors as blue or red, and it's basically up to you how you would like to configure it. And also there are 3 mini PCI ports. One slot can be also used as mSATA slot. This is very useful for having it as a storage or as a NAS. So, but basically for the mini PCI cards you can use also LTE modems and something like that. So you can also expand it to have 3 Wi-Fi cards there. And the latest device is a modular one. It's Turris MOX, which was also on the Indiegogo campaign, and it's like a Lego. You can just use the modules based on the manual to see which they are working. So there is a dual-core Armada. It's a basic module, and then you can just add the Ethernet ports, mini PCI, or even USBs. So, and the device which I mentioned is very similar. It's a Turris Shield, which uses the Turris MOX as a basics. It has 2 ports, but there is only a Turris. So there is no Lucy, and it's limited by the software. But some advanced users can use the same software as for Turris MOX. And this is the only exception about the software. And about Wi-Fi, which you could be interested in, we are using mini PCI card for Wi-Fi 5 right now, and sometimes this card behaves differently. It depends, I don't know, like if you buy dozens or hundreds of these cards, each behave differently, so you need to choose a firmware very widely. And sometimes users are satisfied with the Candela-Tech drivers, or sometimes with the standard one. I don't know why, but sometimes it works for them. And it should also support the mesh, what I've been told and what I heard. So if you are interested to use it as mesh, feel free to do it. And you wonder how it's with Wi-Fi 6. Many cards, mostly the 8011K, requires MSI interrupts, and we got some issues with the devices, with the socks which we choose, but we didn't know that in the past, and there was broken PCI controllers, and it supports only legacy PCI interrupts, so we couldn't use the Wi-Fi 6 cards, but our kernel developer implemented such support for these PCI controllers even on the Turris Omnia and Turris Omnia routers. And about the A385 SOC, we have almost 100 patches, and I'm not sure if we should send it to OpenWrt first to have it supported, or just wait until it's accepted in the Linux kernel and it gets exported to the long-term releases. So we have it right now in our version, and we will see how it goes. And if you plug the 11K card to this router, you cannot use these other slots. So even if you have the 3 mini PCI slots, you can use only one with this because you run off the MSI interrupts. And what could be really interesting is that OpenWrt does not have support for 8811K. Even I know that the Hawk or somebody else have it in the staging tree, and it's waiting to be merged into OpenWrt. Oh, and we found out that for the Wi-Fi 6 it's really able to use the MediaTek chipsets. Mostly the 76 or 1915 cards are working out of the box. So if you have any mini PCI cards, you can use it with OpenWrt, it works. And if you have any questions, I can answer them, because this is all what I prepared for you right now.
I have maybe a request for you.
Okay.
Can you perhaps show the web configurator for the MOX devices? Because I think this is something to keep in mind, that you cannot really order, you can order the MOX modules obviously, but you can't put them in any order you like because of the internal buses that need to extend to the correct places. But fortunately, the configurator does this for you. So you just essentially go to the web page, and then you can explain it better, I guess.
So you can see that, as Albert told, there are SGMI and RGMI signals.
Sorry,
So
can you just increase the zoom level so that it's bigger on the screen? That would be great.
Control and plus or something like that.
Or this one it works too. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, it's better, I would say. So it. Okay. Control plus, okay.
That's good.
Oh, that's big. Oh, we can see. Okay. Oh. So as you can see, some modules terminate these signals. So right now, if you use one B module, you cannot connect another mini PCI. So you can use this module. So it's extend the PCI signals, and it's the same for the Ethernet one. So you can use four of these, just one this one and one this one. So there are no problems with the capacity, let's say. And also I can show you our interface, maybe not, because Lucy can be quite powerful and offers many options. So you cannot give it to the basic users because he gets lost very easily. So we prepared user interface called referees, where you can see the basics like the Wi-Fi and which changes appears. So if you can go to one, so you can have some connection. Okay. Okay. So users can just configure the basics like the password for this UI, for the Lucy, and which packages he wants to install from the pre-configured list of packages. Sometimes he can also configure the DNS server which he wants to use, and we can see it right here. So the DNSSEC is already enabled by default, and if you decide to forward, there is some pre-configured system which you can extend, and just some of the few basics. Okay. So as you can see, updates are automatic, and also we have this Turris Sentinel project, which is a tree detection and offers a dynamic firewall if users want to be safe. But everything is opt-in. Sometimes users just don't want to send data to us to protect the other routers, or because they are scared of privacy.
Questions, answers.
Okay.
You talked about SFPs and that you have a lot of problems. That you have problems with them. Do you have a list of SFPs which are working?
Yes, that's a very good question. The community has this system of the support list. We develop with some company our own SFP module, so it can be used as well. But I think it's not supported in Linux kernel right now. But if you would like to know the list, it can be found in the wiki.
Okay, I can probably find it if there's a list too. But that's nice to have it. And that's supported. That means in the list they are supported by the upstream Linux kernel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so there are some few things which community reporters has to be working. So this list could be somehow good for users to choose the working SFP module. So yeah, there is also a list of this broken SFP modules.
Okay.
User can knows which SFP module does not work anymore.
No, do because it's a check. Okay. No, maybe it's to check if I understand well. But if okay, I build my firmware on with OpenWrt. So if I buy this open hardware this device, my question is if I understood well, that at the moment I can't flash with my homemade firmware based on OpenWrt, because there is not is not free the support for Atheros 11. It is what you say, or maybe I understood bad.
Well, I need to first say that for the first router which is not being manufactured, which is the PowerPC platform, we provide full hardware schematics. Even it could be even open hardware, and we are trying to obtain some certification for it. But for the other routers which we are selling right now, we provide just hardware schematics, and afterwards we will end up with the production. We will provide the rest of the things. And about right now, the Turris OS just is provided for Turris devices, and we try to upstream what we can, so anyone from the OpenWrt can benefit from it. And about the Atheros 11K, it's complicated, but it depends on the device which you have. If you have a Armada SoC, then you probably with the latest LTS kernel will be able to use these Atheros cards. So, or even running the mainline kernel, basically once it's there. For one processor is there, for the second one it's waiting until we send it there. I'm not sure if I responded correctly to you, if it is understandable.
Maybe I asked you after.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so in one of your early slides you mentioned the threat detection with Sentinel. Can you tell us more about that? What does it detect? How does it detect?
Yes, it consists of the series of manifolds. It has telnet, it has FTP, and it tries to use the emails for the protocols for the emails. So if attacker tries to access it, we collect the credentials which he used, and also what he tries to do. For the honeypot, for the manifolds not, because they are aimed to be manipolistics, and if we detect it behaves, it does, and from the same IP address, if he attacks multiple routers, then we will put it on the gray list, so other routers will just deny this access from the IP address. And the gray list can be used on servers also. So if you are running, I know some Czech web hosting provider uses this gray list, so they are protected and they block all the traffic from this IP address. Yeah. I'm not the Sentinel developer, so I am rather mostly doing this distribution, but if you would like to more details, don't hesitate to reach us or just visit the website. And for the Sentinel, we have one page where you can see, yes, this one, where you can see the attacks and abuse passwords which attackers try to do. And if we go here, you can see the dynamic firewall and which the IP address tries. And maybe I can also, if I can show you attacks on my router which I have at home. So, if you are, okay, so here it goes. Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay. It's. I will do it here. Okay, so here we go here. Okay, if I will do it here. Okay, so if I enter my okay. So you can see here attacks on my routers. So if I have a public IPv4 address, you can see that for today there was almost 5 incidents. Okay, I will do it much larger. Oh. Two screens. Oh. One more try. Okay, so it's now quite noticeable that there is, you can see which protocol is mostly used and which countries attacks the most. Mostly it's China or Russia. Yes, so yes, so you can see here graph for each country which is the most attacking one, and which country is attacks the lowest one, and the same goes for this graph. So you can see for the HTTP there are just a few attacks, and SMTP protocol there are many attacks. And as I spoke earlier about the honeypot as a service, we provide the same statistics, you know, from which IP tries to get in, which credentials does it use, and what it does in the honeypot. And if he does something bad, it's we are cooperating with the national security team, and it's being analyzed by them.
You asked about how to handle the patches you have for the PCI, I think mostly.
Yeah.
For OpenWrt, normally when you have it already upstream and it's only backports, then it's normally okay to add them, because when there's at some point in time when OpenWrt updates the kernel, we can get rid of them, so it's not, we don't have to maintain them forever. If they are not upstream, probably 100 patches is not so nice.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried. So I would rather push kernel developers to have it in upstream, because it's easy to get it backported.
Yeah, so if they are in upstream, I don't see a big problem to get them backported to OpenWrt.
So many questions.
Another question about getting involved or community involvement. We spoke about this a little before your talk. So how does it work if I own such a device and there is something that, you know, I would like to change, or I tried one of the more courageous firmware images, it crashes, and I can produce debug information. Where do I send it? What do I do?
Okay, that's a good question. And as we are based on the OpenWrt, and if you want to have some package updated, it's better to get it upstream. So if it gets backported, if you ask, if you don't, you will get it in the next version. And if you have any issues with the router, it's good to check if anyone else does not experience it already on the forum. We have our own forum as OpenWrt. It's using the same system, so you are quite familiar with this course. And for the stable releases, we provide support via email. It's not 24/7, so the reply can take some time. And if you are using some of the developer branches or even the OpenWrt master on your router, you can use our GitLab. So you can just fill the issue and it will get taken care of. Not exactly in the time manner, because the master will be in some months or years. And or you can just also search on OpenWrt forum if anyone else who is using OpenWrt does not have the same issue. It helps. And if you want to, you can send even a patches.
Don't hold your breath, but still. How about the other way around? Is there a way for you developers to go ask for specific tests? Do you do that?
We have some tests, just basics one. It's I think about 100 of tests which we are running on the router before we will release it to the stable. But before it gets to the stable, it's in release candidates, as OpenWrt does, we advise users to be there and ask for troubles to catch them until it's released to there. But anyone can contribute. So, well, basically, what we have issues that many users have different configurations. So sometimes they are complaining that the update overwrites their configuration file or something that it shouldn't touch, and that's the issue which we need to deal with, as we should probably say and relate it only the changes which are done in our user face should be supported. But even if you do something in Lucy or something like that, we need to be aware, because it's possible that someone else is using it as well, and we need just to prepare the fix, and so the other guy is safe.
More questions? Yes.
You mentioned you have 100 test cases, so do you have a test automatization on the board? And if yes, how it's working? So what do you do there?
Yeah, we have some. What I know, we have one dedicated computer. When by using the UR cables are connected to the routers, and there is a network connection tests, some basics tests to make sure that the services or the packages which needs to be running are running, and that it does not take fault or they are not missing. But I know that one of the OpenWrt member has some tests which we need to inspire ourselves to extend them more somehow. But we don't have a very large test, we have just the basics one.
Okay, yeah, I think Peter is doing there some automated tests with his lab grid to control this board. I tried to do something with something on QEMU, so just to test not the hardware but to test OpenWrt in general. So we had some problems that downloading something over HTTPS didn't work, and yeah, it's not finished yet and not integrated automatically.
I think our tests are nothing to share of, but the source code, as all our software is open source, it can be found. But I know that these tests are written in some Python framework, and you can see what it does, but only basics. Well, that we can ping by IP address, that it can download our medkit, which we call this this is upgrade pack, which has some additional pre-installed packages or lists, and it just flash it on the router and just try to do some things. But we are not running them automatically. We are just need to manually to push them. But we are doing it just for the stable releases. We are not doing it for the masters or some new stable OpenWrt releases. And what we do for these development branches is that we just have the list of file packages which are not compiled, but otherwise these development branches are completely untested. So they are each day compiled, and we will see if it is broken or not on the router itself.
Okay.
I have a question about the snapshot system that you use. So the router boots from the SD card, which can be arbitrarily large, I suppose, and then you have Butterface as the file system, so that you can have different snapshots that you manually or automatically trigger, right?
Yes.
And then there's this special U-boot mode, I think, that you can use to boot into specific snapshots if you want to just roll back a recent change or something like that. And is there any chance that we will see this in being ported to OpenWrt or supported by like mainline U-boot as well, or is it something that's very specific to your hardware? So where's maybe the problem of getting this nice functionality to other platforms?
To OpenWrt, I would say it is not possible to use it. Maybe with some modifications it is possible, because it depends on the file system BTRFs as we rely on it, and which provides these snapshots. And we have our own tool where you can roll back to the previous snapshot if anything goes wrong. It is also available in the user interface, and as Albert pointed out, with with the reset button or some hardware button which is on the routers, you can use it to roll back to previous snapshots. And also, for the new batches of the Turris Omnia and Turris Mox routers, we will be using mainline U-boot, so it helps. And also, if anyone has the older units with the older version of U-boot, he can update it. But we would like to do some global U-boot updates, but lately, because there is some issues which we need to solve first, because it's incompatible with DDR training. There are some issues with DDR training on the Turris Omnia router, and we are trying to figure it out with the manufacturer to see if it rolls, because each badge has different RAM and the training is somehow different. So I'm not sure about these specific details, but I heard it. So I know that for someone with the Turris Omnia router, the new U-boot can work, but for the other one cannot work. So we need to wait until it's solved so we can push the global update.
Thanks. More questions? Anything not answered yet? Okay. Yeah, then thanks a lot.
Thank
you. Thanks for your time. Okay, live.
Thanks. So, hello. I'm Clauz from Linux.org Rome. And this is a talk about the rise and fall of the Rome's community network. It's a bit painful, but I talked to some people here, and some people would be interested in this kind of talk. So it's just, I take it as a therapy slideshow, okay? So let's start with the rise. So we're doing great things in Rome. We had this, these routers on tops of poles and big installations and on top of brooms sometimes to test them. And we grew a big community, very united on the human level. And we reached around 120 nodes, I think, in Rome, something like that at our peak. And let's say we started in 2003, more or less, with 3 nodes. And after, I think, 10 years, we reached the peak, I think around 2013 or 14. And then at that time we had some, we were using OLSR version 1. We had an IPv4 and IPv6 network, which is something that you don't see yet on commercial service providers, for example, IPv6 right now in Italy. And we had our own BGP peerings, and we had some uplinks through DSLs. Of course, because DSLs do not usually provide IPv6, they were IPv4 only. And we had lots of fun, like choosing our IPv6 networks, like, somebody you cannot read perhaps, but if you see here, these octets are like beef, caca, cafe. We had lots of fun, we were also doing some experimentation with OSR version 2. We were doing some training sessions, skill sharing. We had some events called Linux Academy, which were training events about how to build a community network and so on. We had lots of software development. We were involved in lots of projects, and we were also running some internal services inside the community network. For example, we developed NodeShot. I think we have the main developer somewhere here, Nemesis. NodeShot, a map server. We had NetJSON against Nemesis. Was the main developer. And also, LibreMesh with Ilario, Joaquino, lots of people from Linux. And also we got some internal services. So we had some gaming servers. People could connect to these gaming servers and had some collective playing session, multiplayer. We had some local radio and TV streaming inside the network. We got voice over IP. So at some point we were calling each other through voice over IP over the mesh network with internal numbers. It was fun. We got, of course, email, chat, internal chats, and we had also tried some local social networks and collaboration tools. And we got also some file sharing and a search engine for files that were shared all over the mesh. Yeah, it was Samba shares, but we had a crawler who crawled along all the Samba shares and took the file names and put them in a database. And then you could query the database for the file that you were looking. Okay. It was only for backup purposes, research purposes.
Linux images.
Yeah, Linux images, yeah, of course. And also, at some point, we tried to do decentralized cloud. So after the Confined project, there was this European project who had the aim to build a distributed testbed on top of community networks, so that researchers could connect to some container in a virtualized environment and run tests between different nodes inside community networks. And with this project, we got some hardware. So after the project ended and after we saw that nobody was using the hardware, we used it again to create some kind of community-owned cloud. And yeah, we are still working on this. So it was like a project which never ended. And then something happened. So the thing is that many key people left the country and some others didn't have time anymore. So people started living abroad, like in Northern Europe or Paraguay or yeah, you name it. Switzerland, UK, yeah, lots of, yeah, also Germany. The people went everywhere. And this somehow put some big holes in the social graph of the community network. And also some people just grew up and didn't have time to share between the, so the time was all concentrated on family issues and couldn't spare some time with the community anymore. There were no new people to replace them. This is something that we try to attract new people with skill sharing academy, inviting people to our meetings, but we saw that the community networks lost a bit its traction, at least in Rome. Also because there was no necessity for a community network. It was only something that we did for fun, mostly. So that is one thing. You got some commercial offerings in the city which are cheap and fast. So people don't really relied on community networks. So it was something more like a hobby for most people. And what happened is that we got some node installations that just crumbled with you know, sun, rain, wind, and nobody replaced them. And let's say that the people which were more hardware capable were not available anymore. And so the people who had the node on the roof didn't know how to maintain it, didn't know how to reinstall it. And yeah, this is something that we missed somehow, right? So to train people how to maintain their own node, also from the hardware perspective. we focused a lot on the debugging with the ping, TCP trace routes, and yeah, debugging the networking issues. But we didn't focus much on training on how to build a proper, let's say, installation of a node. And yeah, as I was saying, the residential internet connections were just growing in speed and the reliability. We got fiber optics everywhere. So what's left mostly is the layer 8 network. So the social network. I don't want to use social network because everybody thinks about the social networks, but I'm using this in a literary way, okay? The social connections between people. And yeah, I think that sums all right now. We still have the services like the chat, the mailing list, and
I don't know if the chat is still on the jitter.
Sorry, Marco?
We don't have the chat running.
Oh,
on
yeah, it's not
and there's
an internal chat. We're relying on external chats.
I think we also lost the bridge between IRC and Telegram.
Yeah, we lost some IRC things, but yeah, but also we lost the Freenode. Right?
Actually, the Mattermost server is still running, but nobody uses.
Okay, so we have some Mattermost, and at some point. This year, we learned that we were losing our IPv4 public network. Somebody solved it because it was not ours. And so we are trying to make an internet registry to try to get some new IP addresses and keep services running. And so that's all from my side. Thank you.
So the IP version 4 blocks were provider assigned, if I get it correctly? The blocks were yours, right?
Yes, it was a friendly internet service provider registered /24 for us. But yeah, it was not ours somehow. And so they sold the /20, which contains the /24 to somebody else. And yeah, we have to find another solution.
Yeah, for the moment we have another /24.
Yeah, we are trying to have another /24, but yeah, the times to get a new network are really like 3 years or so, I think. Yeah, but it's diverging, so I don't know if it's 3 years or infinite. Okay. Okay, if there are no other questions, I can leave the floor to Ilario, who will talk about, who will give a demo, I think, about LibreRouter. Okay. Thank you.
Really spontaneous, so the idea was, no, wait, it's the opposite. You should observe where is it? Where is the other screen? Sorry. No. What is this? Okay, this is the browser, right? Right. Okay, so this is a very spontaneous talk. I thought this morning that we had these fantastic routers and we didn't power on yesterday. We didn't try them. And I never had one on my hands. So it's really a hands-on, like I am doing a hands-on as I was curious. And I thought, okay, let's be curious together if you're interested. And okay. And so, one LibreRouter. So a bit of introduction, but Jesse said everything about the LibreRouter already. But I can't see the screen. But a bit more of introduction is, well, it's a router that has been designed by a big international community. Some members are here. And by default, it runs LibreRouter OS, which is a distribution of LibreMesh. So basically, they take LibreMesh and they make their own selection of packets. But they are all packets that comes from the either OpenWrt or the LibreMesh repositories. And LibreMesh is based on OpenWrt and is just a framework, modular framework for configuring OpenWrt, for configuring in a way that is useful for network communities. Okay, so we installed all the antennas as from yesterday's talk. And so now I need to connect, I suppose I need to connect to the access point of the LibreRouter. You don't see it there. Okay, let's mirror the screen. Mirror. Nice, so then I can see. Okay, so as you can see, there are two AP. Can you? Yes. Two AP. One is a common name like libremesh.org, and the other one is libremesh.org/blah blah blah. Okay, this /blah blah blah is the host name of the device that includes the final part of the MAC address. So basically, this is the access point that you connect to if you don't want roaming. And for example, if you want to really connect to an antenna for being sure that your commands, your stuff is happening on that antenna, you do this. Otherwise, you just connect to the generic access point that all the routers, when we will plug the other one, will also have the same access point name. By default, it has no password. Okay, and once you are connected, well, we don't have internet connection because we didn't plug anything in the one. You have to open a domain that is thisnode.info, and thisnode.info just points to the first device that it can find. Yeah, there is a Spanish version that is Minodo. Basically, it's something that gets resolved by the router itself and just replaced with the API of the router. Okay, one thing that I basically never used is the Lime app. So Lime is like LibreMesh app, which is an alternative to Lucy, designed for being easy and for just showing the user the bare minimum things that they should touch, nothing else. So this is what it looks at the beginning. Your router has not been configured. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's click OK. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is something that Jesse mentioned yesterday. The scan for existing networks is a module that is called the first boot wizard. So if you already have one router next to you, well, that you can connect to, that is already configured, you can just click scan for existing networks. It will find an existing LibreMesh installation, and it will download the configuration. Not the password, but yeah, later. And that's why we have two routers. Okay, so let's create a new network first. Community name, Battlemesh. No, because then it will create the access point that is called Battlemesh, yes. Battlemesh LibreRouter. Yes, better. Okay, password, we can do whatever, then so then you can play. Let's use the same as the AP access point. Yes, I didn't want to say. Oh no, it needs a number. Okay, it's 1. It's a 1.
It should, not it must.
Eh?
It says it should, not it must.
Should. Okay, let's try without it. Re-enter the password.
Is it the implementation or the documentation is wrong? We will figure that out now.
Choose a name for this node. Really?
No, let's test the form validation.
Yeah, but the passwords do
How
not
can
match.
you realize that they are different? They are just points.
Yeah, but you say the point does not match.
Oh, really? Okay.
Missing a button to show the password.
Okay, now it matches. Okay. Choose the name for the first node. They are identical, so let's call it 1. No, we need to have a number.
So the documentation is completely wrong.
Yes, should, like should, really strongly should. Okay, let's put yes.
It doesn't comply to the RFC.
It has a 1. If you want to connect and to play, then we will. If you break it, we will be able to unbreak it, right? If we break it, like if we break it, we will be able to unbreak it. To unbreak it, yes. What? And?
I have some UN adapters with me.
Yes, I also have one. Okay, create network. Okay, let's wait for rebooting and configuration and stuff. And in the meantime, we can plug the other one. So this is just a TP-Link VDR 4300 power supply and should work. Maybe it doesn't have enough power if the node is using a lot of it. But for this test, it should be enough. Okay. In the meantime, I spam you with the sync thing. We can see if the other router already announced itself. Yes, you will see that this one is the one that we just created, and this one is the roaming enabled access point, and this one is the one that we just booted. Okay, so let's leave the other one to sync, and let's connect to the second one. Okay, this time, well, we can use either these or these, doesn't matter, we are going to connect to the same anyway. Okay. Okay, now the interface is complaining. Okay, now we are connected to the second one. Okay, let's go on. Let's scan for existing networks, hoping that this one is already completely ready. Nick. So basically, I'm connected to, I don't know which band, but this is scanning on using the 5 GHz radio, and it's really? Oh, okay. It's connect. Okay. Anyway, it's scanning and looking if the other AP look like something that it can connect to. I suppose. I don't know how it works. Let's see if it works. Yeah, like I don't know how First Boot Wizard works. Like how it connects to, how it recognizes that the other access points are actually LibreMesh access points. Okay. It's scanning on the 5 GHz, but maybe it's connecting to everything, or it has some way to recognize if a network is, maybe it connects, I don't know. Okay, so here we can see that there is the other router. Okay, so we can just tell the second router, okay, connect to the network of the first router. A device for this is, name for this node is 2, set network, and it reboots, and supposedly it should take the configuration that we had. In this case, it's just the network name, and we didn't configure anything else. Well, the password, yeah, the password is also shared. Well, it's shared in a hashed format, but still, it's the hash is available. And let's see when they reboot, or let's already try to connect to the first one. Yeah. Let's have a look at the app. Okay, now I connected to the roaming enabled interface. I suppose this one is answering as it's already booted. Okay, yes, 1. Okay. Blah blah blah. Traffic, power. As you can see, there is bare minimum information. Uptime, version of the firmware, internet connection with easy to understand symbols, IP addresses. Okay. So -61 means that it's already connected with the other one, right? Okay, this is the okay. Okay, let's go align. There are no nodes. All the nodes are. These are all the nodes associated. Okay, what is this for? Yeah, there. Signal lost. Okay, but radio 2 is connected. it got worse. Okay, well, the numbers are. Maybe the cable is is not connected well. Anyway, it's connected, more or less connected. Okay. The map apparently requires the internet connection, and then you can set the position of each node on the map clicking, but makes sense that it requires the internet connection. Metrics, searching gateway. Okay, we had no gateway. Okay, basically otherwise it will say like the steps to the gateway and like millisecond delay for connecting each step. I can't remember what.
You can check.
The microphone? Do we have the microphone?
There it is.
Yeah. Because she knows much better as I never use this.
The automatic check is between the node and the gateway, but you can push the full path button and give the information between the node and the next step, the node and the other step until the gateway.
Okay, so it shows the IPs and
using the last path that work with internet, okay?
Okay. And it shows the IPs and the delay for connecting or something else?
Packet loss.
Okay, packet loss.
Ancho de banda. ¿Cómo es?
And?
El ancho de banda.
And the bandwidth.
Yes.
Okay, okay, that's nice. Okay, notes. You can write some notes, and then you see them when you connect to a node, and also when you connect by SSH. The notes will appear in the banner.
One interesting use of this simple section of nodes, there was once fire, a big fire in a great territory around a village, and they used these nodes because they didn't have internet, and they communicate each other and organize the guard, the fire guard. Yes. By these nodes.
Crazy. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, you can also do all these things in SSH, and it's just OpenWrt. You can just configure things directly, or you configure things in a LibreMesh unified configuration file that then applies all the configuration that are maybe much more complex. You just write these enable and then in one file, and then you run lime config, and then it will apply all the configuration to all the OpenWrt files. Okay, node configuration. We like it. Okay, Wi-Fi password. Amazing. Okay, we can set up the same password for all the access points, right? No, it needs the, okay. It's asking me the password.
Yes.
Makes sense. Enable password. Okay, Wi-Fi password, but no, we will not use it as it's easier to play without password. Community roaming API. Okay, this is okay. Enabled. Yes. Community portal. Ooh. This is the Piranha captive portal for with the vouchers.
Mm-hmm. No, also can be without.
Also just as a splash page.
Both.
What happens if I enable it? Do we need like some configuration? What happens if I enable it? Okay, let's see. Because I was doubting whether the Piranha for working needs some specific configuration somewhere. Huh?
On the app you have the portal, and you have these are two settings.
Okay. Vouchers can be.
The trash page and one time the vouchers.
Okay, so these, let's enable both. Edit welcome screen.
But the other no. Yeah, not
Okay. You must enter a valid voucher. In the meantime, you can continue using local network services. Okay, very nice. With a community logo. That's very nice. Okay.
But you enable both.
Yes.
The captive part
okay.
and the voucher for the internet.
And I should not. Okay, let's disable one of the two. Let's. No, they are. Okay, let's enable this. Okay. And then we can connect to a mobile hotspot. That's very nice. So it can be very nice. Get an additional cell phone to one. Okay, yes. Okay, so it will look for a network with this name, with this password, and if the router finds the network with this name and this password, there will be a client to that network.
No, not a client.
Eh? What?
Became a new gateway.
Ah, yeah. Okay, so it used the network, the mobile connection as one. No. It's very nice. Enabled without vouchers. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Network configuration. Okay, the password, nothing else.
Just the password.
Okay, firmware for updating. This device supports a secure rollback. Okay, so basically it's something like if you flash it and you don't connect in the next 10 minutes, it rolls back, right?
Yes,
so
there is two partition there's two partition in the flash. So in one of them there is the last version and the new version is in the second one. So if it fails, return to the
super nice. And it fails when you don't connect and click like it's working, right? No, how does it detect that it's failing?
Yes, you have to open this again and there appear a button that says, is everything okay? Yes.
Okay,
done.
So if you connect within a certain amount of minutes saying it's working, it keeps the image, otherwise it goes back. Visit a neighboring node. We can go to configure too. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now I'm still connected to the AP of this one, but I'm actually configuring two.
Think of this as an opportunity to any person to help to other. If you are in a house with problem that doesn't understand how it works, you can see the information as if you were at his house, her house, and help. Even you can see the same screen that your neighbor can see, so you can explain even by phone. See, you have this I don't know section that tell you that means blah blah blah.
Okay, and then there is a okay, the shared password. There is a remote support function that is some okay, no internet connection, but can you explain it?
Maybe we can.
Yeah, you also played. You also yes.
I can explain, but if we give to you one hotspot with
or a cable, we just connect the
tested
cable.
two features in one time, but
yeah, I don't have data on the phone, but if you can create an access point that is internet, connect to a mobile hotspot. I don't know how. You need. It has to be called internet. Network name internet. Password internet. Can you? No.
No, connect to the mobile hotspot.
Yeah, but it has to have this name.
Try to connect. Okay. Maybe you can. Oh, okay. So let's. Yeah, but then.
Yeah. So the access point has to be called internet, and the password has to be internet.
But on this one, I have to change the name of my phone because the Wi-Fi is on.
yeah, give me a second. Okay, password.
Anybody knows how to change the hotspot name on an iPhone?
Yeah, you can. Because you need to change the phone name.
No.
Then still the phone name dash as hotspot.
I'm making hotspot internet.
Yeah, just the phone.
Fantastico.
Lo vedi?
Wow. Okay, not connected. Connected? Amazing. Okay, I expected much more bugs, so it's actually amazing. Okay, the map is not happy anyway. Maybe not all the features are like that kind of connection.
I got to check that I navigate. Maybe you connected here, but
Okay, but these already realize that there is internet connection. Well, also maybe.
yeah, looks that I can.
Okay, create session. Well, you know how this works, right?
Yeah, but do.
Okay, create session. So basically it's for having a shared terminal, so people can connect to your node and you see what the people are typing, and you can also type stuff. Okay, so you should share these to someone else that can help you, and they will have a SSH session that will appear here. Can anyone? No, I will just do it. No, but I'm not. Right, because it's using the AP of the phone, but it's only for support. Maybe it's not for actually me to use. Like, should the client, should my laptop be able to use the phone connection now?
At the same time?
No, like no. Like I connect to the Libra router and I get the internet with this laptop.
Please, if you go in status in the first page, tell you if you are connected or not.
Yes.
You have v14 and DNS.
Yes.
So if you try to navigate another tab, try something.
No, I'm already connected to the wood one. Let's connect. Maybe it takes time for the routing protocols to set up stuff. I don't know.
Try a ping, maybe DNS.
Yes, it's not. Not yet. No. Meh.
Just copy the SSH connection and then connect to the Battlemesh Wi-Fi.
Yes.
But to finish the test, maybe yeah.
But we will not see. Well, someone could connect to these and see what's happening, but with the laptop I cannot.
Maybe you. Now you are pinging. Switch. No, why you switch?
Amazing. Okay, so this is like.
Write something here, and then I will connect back to the router and then see if I can see what you.
Oof. Okay, let's do.
Che cosa stiamo facendo?
Okay. Anyway, you can see that.
No, because this one should be a shared.
Yes. You can see that this is like a TMUX or a screen session. So.
Secondo me tu potevi stare fermo, incollare l'SSH con la chiave nella chat di Matrix e qualcuno di noi arriva.
Yes, easier. Yes, let's do that. Okay, so I put in the matrix channel the. Why is everything so small? Yeah, this is Battlemesh, right? Yes. Tap. Someone should connect, and I can go back to see the interface. Ok.
Però è strano perché non funzionerà neanche il remote support.
Show console. Ok, nice. Why not? Doesn't have internet anymore? No, it has internet.
Wait, but the one.
Yeah, maybe it's not using the one for. So the normal way is to connect a cable, maybe.
The remote support, but from the node one.
The node one. Okay, but maybe I copied the command from this one. I copied the command from this one, right? So that then people are gonna connect to this node. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, for sure, if you plug a cable in the one, this will just show you what the people are typing in, and you can do the support together. You can see what's happening, and I think you can also write. And with this, Well, we can, if you want later, we try to just plug a cable in the one port and should work better. So with this, I'm finished, and the applause are for the project, not for me, because I didn't develop this. Thanks. Maybe the people on the internet are already connecting and messing with the router.
You did this whole presentation because you wanted to play with it.
No.
You said we have this, we haven't even turned it on yet. This is my chance to see how does it work. What are your thoughts about it?
I liked it, and the only bug that we found maybe is not a bug. So this not a lack of connectivity. So I think that the interface is has everything that one needs. Maybe the distance parameter is missing, or maybe it was somewhere. And so yes, I think it's useful. It has enough buttons, so it can allow you like to put our access point password. It allows you to do the bare minimum things. It's easy to use. It's designed for working also on a smartphone screen interface, because people in these communities, in rural communities, often don't have computers. So I like it. I liked it. I expected it to not work, especially in this setup where we didn't plug a one. I expected more problems, and no, I like it. And it will be cool if we have time, but I don't think we have time to try Gluon on these things. Should work, should run, should be possible to compile, because it's LibreRouter now is one of the targets in OpenWrt.
Is it already supported?
And?
Has somebody already checked if it's already inside Gluon as a
No,
supported device?
I don't.
Because otherwise I can probably do that with my community. But we would need a device for that.
Yes.
So because Gluon has a checklist what needs to be done and what needs to be checked for it to be recognized as a supported device. And also we might need to look at inside Gluon how to configure the 3 network cards in there, because currently Gluon is limited to 2 network cards. This is really getting to be a problem, and I'm not yet sure how to solve that.
Yeah,
not sure if the community already discussed that.
Yeah, two network interfaces.
Wireless interfaces.
Well, this thing has been built mainly for having 2 5 GHz interfaces. So it has one internal 2.4 GHz interface for access point mainly, and 2 external 5 GHz interface. That's the main reason for developing this, because there weren't many commercial routers with 2 5 GHz interfaces that for a wireless community network makes sense, but for every other use, well, for most common uses, doesn't make much sense. That's why they had to create this. And yes, for getting a device, I think you will have to talk with the Altermundi people. Yes, but yes, it will be very cool to test.
I think it shouldn't be that difficult. The real problem will be the 3 wireless network interfaces, but we have to do that sooner or later anyway. Just a matter of time. Yes. Not if, but when.
No, I would like only to say that, for example, what you see about LibreRouter OS, and so based on LibreMesh, it's possible to use also in a lot of others device. So, for example, in the mesh network in Bologna, we use a lot on TP-Link and Ubiquiti device, and you can also use some parts and other no. For example, we don't use force boot Wixard because we manage in another way, but the Lime app is a super tool for make easy to understand some step to the people that are inside of non-technical people that are inside of the mesh network.
Okay, so I have one more question about the configuration pages. You can configure a different router from the one you were logged into. Just now we were logged into router 1. We clicked through to router 2. In this way, can you modify every router in the mesh or only direct neighbors?
I suppose every router, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can use different passwords if you don't want other people to mess with your router. But by default, I think it's supposed that if you have the administrator password, you can just mess with the whole network. If you don't have the password, obviously you can see the other routers, but you will not configure them. Like the question was, can you go, puedes conectarte a cualquier router de esta forma que hemos clicado, a cualquier router de la red y cambiarle las configuraciones? So yes, if you have the password, yes.
But if
by
you
default.
Use, the first boot with,
If you use the first boot, yeah.
Is OpenWrt normal.
Do you know which routing protocol is used by default?
LibreMesh packets, and by default in LibreMesh we selected just a few of them for having the thing working, and the LibreRouter OS people just do the same but selecting like a lot of packets. That, for example, the first boot wizard, that is this one, and that by default we don't ship with the vanilla LibreMesh. And so the routing part is the same as OpenWrt of LibreMesh, which is BabelD for layer 2 areas, and then BabelD for connecting various clouds of layer 2.
I think you said it twice.
Okay, Batman Advanced for layer 2 and BabelD for the others. But both routing protocols are running on every node, so we provide only one image of LibreMesh, which has everything inside. And if you want to split two areas, you just change the AP name, and it already changed the VLAN so that one Batman Advanced mesh does not see the other Batman Advanced mesh, but the VLAN for the BabelD doesn't change, so they can communicate through BabelD. So there are these two protocols. And in the layer 2 clouds, we don't filter the broadcast, so that it's easier to share content, but it's also more noisy. But it's easy to fragment for keeping the noise local.
It's an interesting question. You also passed near the network profile. And
yes,
network profile is something of important, because if you are not Altermundi and you are another community that want to write own profile, so you need some different packets. You can add, for example, valsamoggia.linux is one of our valley. So you can also have your customization.
And you can see that when you select, it has dependencies of what people in that community use, and it can already include default configuration. So the configuration of LibreMesh is divided in 3 files with different priorities: the default, the community, and the node. So, for example, we ship from LibreMesh the default. The communities add the community that has priority over the default, and then after flashing it, you can edit the node configuration either from the Lime app web interface or via SSH, and it has priority over the other two. And then you apply the configuration with the Lime config command, you reboot, and it's set. Okay. Questions? More questions? Okay, so thank you for the attention and sorry for keeping you starving.